This is a demo of the new Carrera lap timer 71598 model, which is fairly new, not available in the UK yet. I had to buy this from Carrera, the Carrera website, and I'm a paying customer. I'm not in any way promoting this product for Carrera. There's no financial benefit to me at all. Set up here on a fairly small oval circuit, lap time around 2.5–3 seconds, even quicker. So I'll be able to demonstrate the functions and operation of the unit. At the moment the unit is switched off, there is no actual power down arrangement for the unit. If it has batteries in it, the batteries will be live all the time, and so if you're putting this into storage or not using it for a long time, you should remove the batteries, which is good practice anyway for any battery powered unit. My earlier video unboxing the unit shows how the batteries are installed, or alternatively, as I'm doing in this case, you can use a USB power source. I'm using a USB power bank, which is the white cable that you can see coming out the side of the unit, and that's giving me the capability to run the unit essentially independent of any other power source for the cars. So here we are. I'll switch on. I mentioned in the other video that immediately the unit jumps into what they call training mode. I would call it practice mode. It's a sort of free running time session where the cars can circulate immediately once the power is on, and they'll start clocking times and clocking laps. No need to press any buttons. All you need to do is press the power button to energize the unit. So I'll do that now. Plays that sound, and as you can see, the clock is running. To get a decent image of the screen, I've had to apply a fairly strong light source at the side here. So sorry if that's a bit distracting, but so you can see the screen in the video. Clock time is running. The unit indicates the car crossing the threshold sensor with two tones. One is a sort of fairly high-pitched tone, which indicates simply that it has crossed the sensor, and that's been recorded by the unit. And the other one is there's a deeper sounding tone, which indicates that you have completed a lap that was quicker than any previous lap. So I'll just demonstrate that now with the car running around. You could have heard how the tone was fairly deep initially. That's because the car was setting up new lap records as it went round each time, as I built up the speed of the car, and then as I slowed the car down, the tone changed to the higher pitch, which just simply indicates that a lap has been completed. In practice mode, the screen shows the same information as you would get as in race mode. And if I press the left-hand button here, we see that this car's in position 1, which is kind of irrelevant for a practice session, but it does show it. Next item to be shown is the last lap time. So in this case, it's 1.849 seconds. That's down to a thousandth of a second. So 1.849. The next display is to show the fastest lap. So this car's fastest lap time so far is 1.720 seconds, and you can see that there. The final display selection is to show which position each car is in. Now I'm only running one car, so there's only one row of information being displayed. That's the lower row here, which is telling me that the car on the track there is in position 1. Same, as I say, the same displays appear for races as well. And obviously, position is more relevant to a race scenario. And back to the lap count, which shows that I completed 6 laps there. And that's pretty much it for training mode. I'll show you now how to set the unit into race mode. There are two types of race available with this unit. One is the lap race, where the race is determined by the car which covers a specified number of laps in the shortest time. The other is time race, where the car which covers the most ground within a specified time is the winner. So if the race is 10 minutes long, and within that 10 minutes a car can cover 25 laps, and another car can cover 20 laps, then the car which covers the greatest number of laps is the winner. To get to that, we press the right hand button and press it once. The display flashes and the Carrera logo on the top flashes. Press it again, the flashing stops. Press it a third time and we go into lap race setting up mode. At the top of the screen here you can see lap race flashing away. That's because we're in the lap mode. Two buttons have a function here. This left hand one marked C and the right hand one marked S. S is the German word for sprint. Apologies to any German viewers for my use of the language or abuse of the language. And I translate that sprint to mean jump or next, I think is probably appropriate in this case. So to move to the next screen, to set up the actual number of laps, press the S button, and it's currently flashing the first digit and specifying 25 laps. So if I want to accept that, I can just press the center button again until go through all the digits to complete that stage of the setting. I'll just press it once to show you what happens. The U button at the end here will increment the digits. So I want to go to 35 laps, 45 laps, 55, 56, 57. The button can only increment, it can't decrement the numbers. So if you want to go back to number 1, you have to go round through 0 back to 1. The next digit, same thing. Final digit, same thing. And then finish that section by pressing the S button again. Now you can see that the buttons have changed to S and F. This is where you specify the type of race you want to run. F is the Formula 1 type finish, where the car which finishes first ends the race. And the S button is kind of like normal slot car racing, where the timing continues until the last car completes the race. So the slight difference there, and it's a free choice as to which version you go for. I'm going to go for the Formula 1 type. That has the race set up, where we've got 5 zeros on the screen, and the S button I can use to start the race, or the E button I can use to cancel and go back and change the race parameters. In this case I just want to start the race, and so we'll do that. We get a countdown, the LEDs flash. You can't see the LEDs in this view, I'm afraid, but they are as they were shown on the introduction to the video. So LEDs are visible at this side and at this side, so the drivers can see them no matter where they're standing. A bit of a slow getaway for me there. The lap count is decreasing as the car goes round. The tones change depending on how quickly I've gone. And to the finish. So the display flashes and the fanfare announced that the race was over because the car had covered 15 laps. We can display the results of the race by pressing the left hand button here, and it tells me that this car was in position 1. Sorry, the winning car was in position 1, which obviously is the case. The last lap time for the car on the blue lane is 1.697 seconds, timing down to the thousandth of a second. The fastest lap is not much quicker, 1.684. That's the fastest lap time for that car. If there's a second car running, the information would be displayed in this row here. Confirming the car on the blue lane, this lane here, was in position 1. If there was a second car, it would say position 2 against that car. This is back to where we were. And so that's pretty much it for lap race. Moving on to the time race feature. This is where the race duration is specified by an amount of time. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. We're currently in training mode, and so to come out of training mode, to end the training mode session, we press the button on the right hand side once, causing the display to flash, Carrera logo to flash. Press again, and a third time takes us to the race mode settings. Currently flashing lap race at the top of the screen. We want to go to a time race. We do that by pressing the button marked C at the bottom of the screen there, left hand button, and that switches us to time race. So here we are, ready to specify the amount of time that the cars will run for. That's done by using the button in the middle, the S button. Again, S is a German word which is equivalent to next. So we press that, it takes us to first digit, which is the seconds digit, and the time is set for 35 seconds, 35 second long race. If I want to change that, as before, press the U button to increment it on that digit, and the S button will take us to the next digit, make it 40 seconds, can go right round again to back to 30 seconds, and so on. So again, we can skip through using the S button, and here we are, finished with the setting. There's no other parameters with the time race. We just set the amount of time, and then we're ready to go. So again, we've got the S and E buttons. S will start the race, E will cancel it and allow me to go back and change the duration of the race. So here we are, press S to start, and it goes through the usual start sequence. I'll display the last lap time, so you can see it varying as the car goes round. Very slower lap, the slower time. As I speed up, it records faster time. And the low tone, of course, told me that I did a quick lap. Okay, so that's the race over. As indicated by the flashing and the tone, the sound it made when the race ended there. So as before, we can go through the results of the race. Only got one car, so only the lower row of information is filled in. So last lap time for this car was 1.694 seconds. Fastest lap during the race for that car, 1.630 seconds. The position of that car was position 1. If the other car had been running, it would be in position 2. Covered 16 laps of the circuit in that time period. Now, the time was set for 30 seconds, 30-second race, but as you can see at the top, it only actually ran for 28.998 seconds. Now, quite why the timer is doing that, I don't fully understand. But it may be that it's approximating the 30 seconds to a complete lap. Obviously, if the car is at halfway around the circuit when the 30 seconds is up, then I would have thought it should keep going till the next complete lap. But it's obviously anticipating that completed lap and just ending the race when the car has crossed the line. There we are. That's pretty much all there is to the time race aspect. I mentioned earlier the false start feature that the unit offers, and I'll demonstrate that working now. This is the business of if one of the cars crosses the start line, i.e. the sensor, before the start sequence is finished, then the system declares that as a false start. There's only one thing to do, and that is restart the race. There's no way of sort of penalising the car which jumped the start. You have to basically restart the race. And I've moved the camera so you can see the lights, the LEDs along the top of the beam here. And the race starts effectively when the countdown ends and when all the lights have gone out. So when the final tone stops and the LEDs have all gone out, that's when the cars should move away and cross the sensor, the start sensor. If you don't wait for that, then you get a false start. I'll just demonstrate that now. To go through to restart the race, of course, we need to go through the time setup again, which is a bit frustrating, but here we are. I'm quick enough to do it just by jumping through the digits and get to the finish point. Now we've got the start and cancel buttons, and so I'll press S to start and we'll get the countdown. Now, I jumped to start there when only 3 lights had come on and the lights were still actively counting down to the start. So as you can see, I think, yes, you can see on the screen it says false, and that would happen no matter which car it was. Whichever car jumped to start, both of them would trigger the false start indication. So to restart the race, I have to press the middle button again, and then I can restart just by pressing the S button, and we'll have another go. And this time I waited for the start sequence and the race commences. So that's the false start function, fairly basic. It would be nicer if it allowed some sort of penalty to be set, so you didn't have to restart, and if there's a lot of enthusiasm from the drivers, that might become a bit wearing. It would be nice if there was a penalty system, perhaps penalising the car that jumped to start by 1 lap, but allowing the race to actually start, and that might work quite well. But sadly, all you can do is restart the race. Thank you for watching the video. Hope you've enjoyed it and learnt something from this. Thank you for watching video 2 really.